Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Gerber Sedulo, or at least that's how I'm going to pronounce it. I hope that's right. If it's not, please correct me down in the comments. Thanks so much to Matt for sending this in for me to take a look at. This will go back to Matt when I'm done. This knife is available. You can actually buy it right now. And it's made in the USA. And it's got a pretty fair price on it. In fact, the entire knife is pretty impressive. I know that a lot of times, especially like right now, when we hear Gerber, Gerber is not synonymous with quality. However, be prepared to be shocked. This is a pretty cool knife, so I urge you to check it out. Please do use my links if you would. It helps my channel, but it is entirely up to you. Thanks so much to my patrons who are supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. This on the blade was done by the owner. The standard Gerber Sedulo comes just with a regular blade, right? And either black or stonewashed and possibly satin. There's a whole bunch of different colors for the handle, so if you're not like big into baked beans and road tar, then, there's other colors and stuff available. So use the links, check out all the different versions. Let's go ahead and get a measurement. Overall measurement of the overall length of the Sedulo coming in at just shy of 8 inches. We're coming in at about 7.9, honestly. Blade length is coming in a bit shy of 3.5, about 3.35, and then your blade length, or your cutting edge length, is about 3.25. Interesting. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1? And let's do the Ontario Rat Model 2. In fact, you know what? I'm going to move this guy down just a little bit. He's not quite right in the center. So there you go. How about, let's move this guy first. Let's do the AD 20.5. Hope you guys are enjoying me using this knife as a size comparison knife. I feel like it's appropriate now. So there you go. Let's do the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Sorry. It's always missing the Para 3. There you go. And last but not least, and I think far and away the most interesting size comparison, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Bug Out. Why is this interesting? I feel like you guys probably can figure it out before I even say it. This knife is literally like what happens when you combine the Griptilian and the Bug Out, right? It's like they made a Bugtilian or a Grip Out. But they called it the Sedulo. I mean, it is dead on in the middle. It's like if anybody ever picked up the Bug Out and thought, okay, but I wish it was a little bit more robust and just a little bit bigger, closer to the size of the Griptilian without being exactly the same size as the Griptilian. That's kind of what they did, and I like it. The size is great, because if you're like me and you picked up the Bug Out and you're like, I feel like if I sneezed, I would obliterate this knife, right? The Sedulo offers that extra feeling of structural integrity, even if it is, like it's not really like extra. It just gives you that extra feeling of, yeah, it's more solid, right? Kind of like what I get out of the Ritter Hogue or Griptilian, whatever, right? So that is definitely something to take note of. How's the action? Pretty good. It's wanting to swing shut, and it snaps out real nicely, and there's no stickiness off of the whatever Gerber calls their axis lock, right? Yeah, pretty impressive, pretty smooth. Gerber is really impressing me with this. Like I have handled other knives from Gerber that are made in the USA that have been like, yeah, it's a step in the right direction. This is like crossing into the realm of impressive to me. So there you go. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see this knife is definitely a bit more robust than you might have thought. It is a little thicker, but these scales are nicely contoured, and I mean it is nicely contoured, very welcoming. As far as how it compares with the thickness of the Bug Out, it is way thicker. This is a much more robust knife for sure. Carry profile, thickness up against the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3. You can see here that this is going to be kind of right there in that ballpark of reasonable carry, full-size knife, right? What a lot of you are used to carrying. The overall length is a bit longer than the Para 3, a bit shorter than the PM2, but still nowhere near as tall. While we do have some added thickness, it's kind of welcome thickness because it fills your hand in a really nice way. It is really great. Materials, we are looking at CPM S30V. S30V, but isn't that a steel of yesteryear? Isn't that a subpar composition compared to the amazing compositions of today, like CPM 20CV, even though that has been around forever and nobody ever seems to question it? That used to be Duratec 20CV, and M390 has been around since, holy crap, a really long time. Yeah, S30V is older, but as far as the composition goes, remember, these powder form compositions from Crucible and Bowler and Carpenter are just multi-directional teeter-totters. S30V will perform extremely similar to S35VN, S45VN, and CPM SPY 27. In fact, S30V actually comes out king in terms of edge retention when it is properly heat treated. Of course, geometry plays a role there. What I'm saying is, don't dismiss S30V just because it's been around for a while. It's literally made for pocket knives. It's a great steel, and it makes perfect sense in this price range. So I have no problem with that. This is like a GRN, FRN, injection mold plastic, some type of whatever, right? Impact resistant, flex resistant, chemical resistant, heat and cold resistant plastic that makes perfect sense for a folding knife handle. It just feels a little bit cheap. But compared to the bug out, wow, this feels way more durable. Like, it just feels way more solid. I cannot stress that enough. Let's take a look at the inside here. So the first thing you'll notice is we do not have all those hollowed out triangles. Like, these are solid pieces of whatever injection mold plastic this is, with a little bit of a cutout for, it's not a partial cartridge liner, it's actually a steel liner that, it's not the full width of the scales, but it does go all the way down to the butt end and connect with that standoff down there. So there is quite a bit of reinforcement there on the scales, and that's something that I really appreciate. Let's go ahead and weigh it. It really doesn't feel all that heavy. I'm going to guess it weighs something like 3.25 to 3.5 ounces. Yeah, I was close, 3.67, so the ratios aren't perfect, but you know what? They're pretty good. I'll take that, because the Ritter Hogue, let's weigh that real quick, weighs a whole ounce more, right? And we're really looking at largely the same, it's the same size knife with just less height, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with that. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get all my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I had to flip that over because I realized the the adjustment side is actually on the back. This is T8, and then we have, as I kind of expected, T6 screws here and here, but because this isn't a cartridge liner, right, they can use this screw right here and this screw for integrity, and they don't need an extra screw in the middle, a lot like the Ritter Hogue or the Bug Out, right, to hold in that cartridge liner, because the liner's just stopping right there on those knives. So I kind of appreciate that. What's funny is their pocket clip screws are T8. They're like, we definitely need T8 on those pocket clip screws. I appreciate that. Why didn't you just do T8 on everything? Okay, no big deal. Can't complain. Still minimal hardware. This is an Axis lock style, setup. So just keep in mind, while we do have minimal hardware, if you are new to disassembling a knife that's using an Axis style lock with Omega springs, it can be a little bit frustrating at first, right? If you've done it a million times, as many of my viewers have, you get used to it. But the first time doing something like this is going to be a little bit frustrating. So just be prepared. It's good that there aren't too many screws, but the hell that awaits you is definitely on the inside. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness here. Come on, calipers. Come on, don't die on me. They're still going. Here we go. Okay, blade stock thickness on this is 120 thousandths or so. So a bit thicker than the Bug Out, about the same as the Ritter Hogue or Griptilian. So okay, let's move on into the meat and potatoes here. Ergonomics. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I welcome that extra robustness, the slight extra thickness of the scales. It really feels like the Bug Out that I wanted, right? I like this profile. It's a nice looking profile. It just looks like a knife, right? Anybody who says they're copying the bug out is saying that they're copying every generic knife profile in existence. Seriously, if you've heard me say that a lot, it's because I'm sick of people saying that. That is a ridiculous thing to say. This is the most knifey knife in existence. Look up knife in the dictionary. What are you going to see? A picture of the bug out, because it's the most simple, copyable thing in existence. I can promise you thousands of things that looked exactly like the bug out existed before the bug out. So let's end that. Hashtag copy of the bug out. Golly. Anyways, this is like the bug out that I wanted. Now, for some people, this is going to work. In fact, I love my bug out. It's great. And in some cases, I'm going to want to carry something like this over something like this. But day to day, this is more so the thing that I want to wrap my hand around when I'm opening Amazon packages. But in any case, it just feels more solid, more robust. There's more that fills out the hand. And you know what? The pocket clip is pretty good. It's got a little bit of a build, but it's not crazy. And look at this. They get there's a little spot, a little flat spot under there so that it doesn't tear up your pockets. This texturing is wonderful. It's really cool to look at. In fact, I'm going to zoom up here because the camera's like, no, I don't want to focus. But yeah, they're like little gems. That's literally what it looks like. This is an awesome texturing. It allows for maximum gripitude or grippage. I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to use. Nick Shabazz uses one of those. I don't want to copy him, but it's a good word, whatever it is. It does offer meaningful traction, and it couples well with the ergonomics of the knife. It's functional, and I appreciate that. And you know what? It looks good. The area that they put it in. It doesn't look sloppy or lazy. In fact, the entire scale looks really good. I'm honestly pretty impressed with the overall fit and finish on this. This is probably the nicest Gerber that I have ever handled, and I want to point out to you guys, Gerber did not send this to me. This was a viewer, right? Just somebody who bought it from a retailer, apparently had it customized, and then sent it to me, right? So it's not like Gerber was like, ooh, give him a real flashy one, right? Because he's a big YouTube reviewer. Listen to me. Listen to me, like, trying to make myself sound cool in the third person. No, they didn't do that. This is just nice, right? It is seam construction, but they have kind of given it a backspacer look by cutting these lips in here, right? And then they have this area drop down. So this is all part of the same scale, but it does give it a backspacer look. But you know what? They did a good job with it. I mean, it really does look good. Everything lines up correctly. Seating of the hardware is nice. The pocket clip looks nice. I mean, everything just, it looks really good. If it sounds like I'm being overly enthusiastic, it's because I love seeing companies that have a reputation for being a bit below, below the bar. I love it when they do something awesome because it's like, yes. Everybody loves to see somebody, push through the barrier and make something great, right? You got companies who make lots of great stuff, and then they make another great thing, and you're like, wow, nobody saw that coming, right? And it's cool, but I like to see, in my eyes, Gerber's kind of an underdog, at least in the enthusiast knife community, right? And they've been hinting that they're capable of, better stuff than the Paraframe, and yeah. Here we have an example. Gerber is capable of great things, not just good things, great things. This is a great knife. Moving on, thumb stud is slightly in the cutting path, but acceptable, right? They got it far back enough. It's really okay. And manipulation of this knife is very good. It's very snappy. It reminds me a lot of, it's like, I'm applying either the amount of power that I am used to with the Griptilian or the amount of power that I'm used to with the bug out. This is truly an in-between knife. You're going to have to take my word for it. The action manipulation is very good. It's very easy. And because of the way that their axis lock is set up, this right here kind of feels like a snap. It's not a D10. It's just overcoming the event horizon, the peak of the, the curvature of the axis lock against the rounded tang. But it's good. It's snappy. Everything feels snap into place. It's just good. I like it. The blade profile is also very good. This is a fully flat ground blade that comes down to a nice, clean, slicey edge. I'll give you an example of how it treats a regular piece of paper, which doesn't prove much, but it's always, this is good. That was a nice, clean cut. Geometry of that blade is good, and it's coming off a, 120 thousandths, so not really all that thick. Up at the top, whenever I do this with my left hand, it's because we're at an angle. But truthfully, this will, like, it's for some reason like wanting to stick right there, but it really will drop shut. I mean, it really is. This really is smooth. It just needs a little bit of a swing there. This feels relatively new, and just, taking a look at the edge, I think it's very, very new. In fact, yeah, it's extremely new. So this will only get better and better. It has the Gerber logo right there. Let's take a look at the actual edge. It's a maybe slight variation from back here, but pretty good. No different than what we see from Benchmade or Spyderco or really any knife in this general competition zone. I think Gerber did a really good job with the edge there. This is the coated blade. It looks fine. Some people are going to prefer that. S30V doesn't necessarily need it. It is stainless, but you will get additional, protection against corrosion if you go with the coated blades. The tumbled blade is probably how I would go, but it looks good. This is just a classic drop point blade, and I think it's perfect for the size of the knife. I'm really glad that they didn't do like some weird skinny thing. They did a blade that actually looks good with the handle. I appreciate the jimping here. This is a knife that really makes me want to take it out and use it because it feels really secure, meaning there's no risk of me running my fingers up on that edge. I know exactly where I'm supposed to put my hand. It's roomy. I can move around a little bit, but there's no like, damning hand position where or damning ergonomic lines where it's just like you have to go here, right? It's not really doing that. It's giving you, you can get up like this and have a little bit, or you can scoot back a little bit. You can be back here, right? However you want to hold it, it's really fine. As somebody who wears an XL glove, not the biggest hands in the entire world, but it's nice and roomy. And the blade feels, there's plenty of blade there, right? Plenty of cutting edge, plenty of meaningful cutting edge, and it'll be easy to sharpen just in terms of, the curvature of the blade. So that's good. This is a truly ambidextrous knife because of the axis locks. You absolutely can mount it for left-handed, carry, and lefties can actually enjoy this to its maximum potential, and that's something worth pointing out there. There's a lanyard thing, but the lanyard, it's a lanyard hole or lanyard tunnel in the butt of the knife, which is a great way to do that. I love seeing that. No lanyard hole out here, no fussing about where to put the pocket clip because you got to make room for something that's way less important. No, they got the pocket clip in the right place. They got a good clip, good length. Just, God, it's good. It's good. It's really good. Like it. On the blade, unfortunately, we have some unnecessary billboarding on this side. Made in the USA is fine. Could have made it smaller. It says S30V, RMO1, and Hogamble 577. HUWJ. What is all that? Like, just S30V. That's it. Like, made in the USA, fine. But the rest of that, I don't know what that is. So, yeah, I don't know. I appreciate the aesthetic of this knife. And I don't like turning it over and just seeing a big paragraph, right? But, okay, it's not really hurting anything. Lock up. Totally solid. Totally solid. God, I was like, don't be wobbly. Come on, Gerber. Very minimal stick. Very minimal stick, which is that's just axis locks in general, but very minimal, right? No pivot lash. Consistent. This is a washer setup, by the way. A phosphor bronze washer setup. Can we see in there? Yeah. Very good. Snap down into the closed position, and guess what? The thing is freaking centered. Gerber made an awesome knife. As of right now, I have not heard an enormous amount of chatter about this thing. I don't know how long it's been around. You guys know that I'm not, it's not my goal is not like, I want to be the first. first and the newest, and you saw it here first. That's not my channel. I don't do that, right? I look at things when I'm ready to, because I look at a lot of stuff. I didn't hear a lot of fuss about this. The Gerber Sedulo it's not just a good knife, it's an excellent knife, right? And I'm not just saying it's excellent for Gerber. I mean, this is something that you should be looking at. Those of you, I don't care if you're looking at a USA knife, you're looking for USA knives, you're just looking for good knives in this kind of weird territory, right? What does this come in at? Cherry on top, $124 for the base model. Yeah, I think that's fair. I do. The base bug out now is coming in more than that, I believe. And the bug out it's fine, but it just doesn't feel like nearly as substantial a knife. As far as the fit and finish goes, this is, and I mean this, it is indistinguishable from the nicest that I have seen from Benchmade. It brings me great joy to say that Gerber is capable of that level of overall fit and finish. I mean, you can see it. You can see this knife here. Right? There's nothing being hidden. It was sent by a viewer, right? It wasn't sent by Gerber. This is real. Gerber is capable of doing great things. Good ergonomics, good carry profile, good weight, good balance, good materials. Made in the USA, and really made in the USA, by the way. Good pocket clip, did I say that? Good texturing. Just feels like a good knife. Yeah. Not just good for Gerber. This is good in general. This is something that you should be paying attention to at this price point. Can you get better materials for less money? Well, sure. In some cases, even from the USA. Slightly. Most of the time, it's going to be from China. Competition-wise, we're in that bug-out Griptilian Ritter Hogue territory, and I think it's standing up solid, right? Chest out, beating on that chest. It'd be really cool to see one of these in G10 and 20 CV. And maybe they charge 160, 170, 180 for it. But you know what? It would be justified because its direct competition would be this. I think it'd be cool if they did 20 CV and this material. Because truthfully, as much as I don't like it, it really does feel solid. Anybody who owns this knife, please comment down below. It really does feel a lot more solid than what I normally feel with this stuff. It does not feel like it's going to flex or buckle or anything, right? So it'd be cool if they did a version of it that was this material and 20 CV for like 150. Because the 20 CV is definitely going to be accentuated. That's the right geometry for properly heat-treated 20 CV. I think that'd be cool. I think seeing S45 yen in there would be really cool. S35 yen, whatever. I mean, it's all kind of relatively the same ballpark. They should do a more premium version of this, but as it sits, just like this is good. It's competitive. It's a good design. And it's weird. I didn't think that I needed a knife that was right between the bug out and the Griptilian, but Gerber showed me that I did, I guess. I like this a lot. This is very good, and it makes me so happy to get excited about something because I've just been reviewing so much mediocre stuff lately. No offense to any other I've reviewed a lot of cool stuff lately. There's just been a lot of like, nah. So it's neat. It's neat to see Gerber succeed. I like this. I recommend this. I cannot recommend this enough. This is going to go in my most recommended knives playlist. And I think it might be the first or one of the first Gerbers I have ever put in there. I've been on YouTube for 4 years. I've uploaded almost 2,700 individual uploads. It might be the first or one of the first Gerbers that's ever made that list. So it's pretty cool. Man, this was such a shocker. I just did not expect. I was like, yeah, that looks cool. I should check that out, right? Just didn't expect to like it. Make sure you check out the links in the description. There's a whole bunch of these available because I think they're flying under the radar right now. This deserves a lot more spotlight. So they're available. So get them while you can. You will be impressed. Thanks again to Matt for sending this in for me to take a look at. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely More coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.